Today's show is sponsored by Liberty Magic, Pittsburgh's premier speakeasy theater dedicated to the art of elevating magic. This time they're presenting Javi Benitez in the show Handmade Miracles. So this is his first visit to Liberty Magic, and you can expect a performance full of impossibility, passion, and poetic deception. Penn and Teller have described Javi as the best sleight of hand artist we have ever seen. That's a direct quote. And Javi is also internationally acclaimed. This combo of visual artistry, heartfelt storytelling, it's all supposed to give you this sense of astonishment and also laughter. Handmade Miracles runs from June 4th to July 5th. Get tickets at trustarts.org/magic before they disappear.
Today's episode is supported by the Pittsburgh Book Fest, paging all readers. Book it to the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh in Oakland on Sunday, May 30th for the 5th annual Pittsburgh Book Fest. Created for book lovers by book lovers, this free event features programming for all ages. Hear from award-winning authors like Stephen Rowley, Catherine Newman, Daniel Kraus, John Scalzi, Meg Medina, and more. Learn more and register for free at pghbookfest.org.
This is CityCast Pittsburgh. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. Hi, hello. We love Pittsburgh, obviously, but sometimes it is fun to get out of town. If you've been brainstorming weekend getaways, you might consider a little road trip to Cleveland. I know, but hear us out. We're bringing back a conversation with CityCast contributors Colin Williams and Meg St. Esprit to talk about all the sights, sounds, and delicious eats that Cleveland has to offer, whether you are a first-time visitor or a returning tourist. Plus, we're going to share some recommendations that we crowdsourced from you, our listeners. Enjoy. Colin, welcome. I know you're from Ohio originally. We won't hold that against you.
I grew up in Kent. I do have roots in Western PA. Both my parents are from this area, but they met at Kent State University, and the rest is history.
That's amazing. And Meg, you are a travel writer for Pittsburgh and a whole bunch of other outlets. I know you've been to Cleveland a lot, specifically to cover it, to tell us what's good. Welcome to CityCast.
Thank you. Yeah, and just of note, 2 of my 4 kids were born in Ohio, so we have a tie also.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, what do y'all remember about your first trips to Cleveland? I'm actually now wondering if you even remember your first trips to Cleveland. Like, what were your first impressions?
Back in the day, Cleveland was a lot like Pittsburgh in that it was very much a steel town. And so some of my first memories of going up there were driving up to the art museum. And the sort of first sign that we were getting there was you would see the burn off plume at the steel plant. Just this big stack of fire, kind of like a torch in front of the city. So that really colored kind of my early impressions of it. But now when I go back, I'm always struck by the nature around. I mean, there's just so much vegetation, and it lives up to that Forest City nickname.
Yeah, I think for me, I grew up pretty close to the Ohio border, and I heard a lot of those jokes growing up. You know, the Cleveland Browns wear their team colors in their Gutchies, mistake on the lake, all of that stuff. However, all of my time spent in and around Cleveland, like the metro parks, the shores of Lake Erie. We really like Geneva on the Lake, which is a little town outside of Cleveland. Like, none of my actual experiences have matched up to all the smack talk I grew up hearing.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited because, I've been to Cleveland a few times, but not a lot. Usually it's like really quick trips for like specific things. And I am hoping we can maybe convince some other Pittsburghers to take either their first trip or like check out a few things other than people like me who just like go for the one thing. So if they haven't already, if you've never been to Cleveland or you've just done like 1 or 2 things, what do y'all recommend seeing first? Like for brand new people, what's worth the trip?
This is such a good question because I think there are so many different ways to kind of enter Cleveland, like whether you're sort of visiting through a historical lens, through a sports lens, through a nature lens, through an art lens. But
right.
I think that starting out in University Circle with the art museum and all of the cultural assets that are around there is the way to go.
And you're talking about the Cleveland Art Museum or Cleveland Museum of Art. That's free, I think, for Ohio residents and like super cheap for everybody else.
The Cleveland Museum of Art is free for everybody.
Is
yeah,
it? Okay.
They charge for special exhibitions, but they don't charge for general admission. And the collection that they have is encyclopedic and vast. Like, you would need a full day to really explore the museum. But that whole area is full of a lot of really interesting stuff to do. The orchestra plays in Severance Hall, which is this really beautiful Egyptian revival building.
I hope they're having fun with the TV show right now, Severance, like that would be really fun.
They should. But that whole area is right next to Little Italy and Lakeview Cemetery, which is home to the graves of some of the most notable Clevelanders over the years, including John Rockefeller and President Andrew Garfield. So I think that general area is a really good gateway to the city. The Children's Museum is also close to there. And there's Cleveland Heights, which has a lot of really cute shopping areas and places to go out at night. So the east side is a great place to start, but the west side is too.
Yeah, I mean, West Side Market is probably my favorite stop when we're in Cleveland.
And we're going to talk more about food in a minute, but yeah, I've heard that recommended high on everyone's list.
Yeah, it's really nice because it's like if the Strip District was kind of all in one building, if that makes sense. Less walking, more compact. It's really beautiful. So I do love the West Side. And I also have to say, there is a little bit, not that same feeling of when you come around the bend here and see city in the Pittsburgh in the Valley. But I love Cleveland along the water when you can see, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You can see the big ship that the Science Center has outside that you can tour, which is really cool from a family angle. So I think I just really kind of like that lake view, that downtown sweeping vista of this isn't a mistake here on the lake. This is great.
I feel like y'all have hit a little bit of every category. I mean, is Cleveland a destination for any one thing? For landmarks, for history, for music, for nature? Is it known as any one thing?
I think it kind of like Pittsburgh. There's a lot of reasons you could go there. I think the nature one is huge. I know we've both mentioned that a couple times, but the metro parks are phenomenal. It's right on Erie's shores. We just really love a lot of the things we've got to explore around that area, within Cleveland's parks, and then even just a little bit out of it, which I know we're going to talk about too, but Cuyahoga Valley and things like that.
Yeah, exactly right. Cuyahoga is our closest national park here from Pittsburgh. Actually, we got a recommendation from Marcus S. in Lawrenceville.
I'm in the season of biking right now, personally. So I always go down and try to engage in the Towpath Trail, potentially the Ohio and Erie Trail, which is accessible through the national park there.
And at Cuyahoga specifically, I am personally very excited to check out their historic railroad.
It's amazing.
I've heard such good things, and I think my kiddo would adore it.
Yeah.
Because it's a regular thing, and you can bike a certain way and then take the train back, which sounds so cool.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Actually, my brother and sister-in-law got married in the park, and it was gorgeous. But we also went back to ride Thomas the Train. I do not think he comes there anymore. But they would hook a Thomas engine up to that historic train, and we chugged along through the park. And I tell you, as a mom, I cried when my kids saw Thomas and were like, "Oh my God, he's real!" But just you can ride the train anytime when it's not Thomas, and it's just gorgeous. It's a really great way. If you have I'm forgetting the word for a train enthusiast. I think it's ferroquinologist in your family.
That one's a brand new one for me.
Yeah, it's worth it for sure.
Well, we got this recommendation from Marlon T. in Newcastle. A little bit of a mixed bag here.
The only time that I've been to Cleveland is for the zoo in 7th grade. So the zoo's really, really nice in Cleveland. And the Great Lakes are a really cool place. But I think Cleveland, all in all, is not a good city.
Why not?
Because I think when I think Cleveland, I think about how the lake caught on fire there. And I always just think of a burning lake when I think of Cleveland.
So it was actually the river that caught on fire.
Yeah, it was the Cuyahoga, right?
Which is
The
very
Cuyahoga did
distinctly
catch on fire.
different than
It
a
is-
whole lake.
Very different from a whole lake. And also the river has really made great strides in the past few decades. So it's not the, sort of open sewer that it used to be. The national park in particular has played a role in helping remediate the watershed because it's been preserved, and there's been a lot of work undertaken to remove dams that were keeping the river from having enough oxygen and things like that. But I mean, to that point, the zoo is great. The lake shore, I think, in Cleveland has really improved over the years. A lot of the beaches have been cleaned up and are really nice to visit now. But all of these parks sort of form just like a kind of emerald necklace around Cleveland. There are so many parks in the city that are worth exploring. One of the ones that I listed here is Rockefeller Park, which has these cultural gardens that are sort of an outdoor answer to the Cathedral of Learning's nationality rooms. So there is a lot of really good nature to explore. I think the zoo is probably pretty comparable to Pittsburgh's, but definitely worth a good visit.
Is it flatter?
Mostly.
Okay. I love Pittsburgh Zoo, but that is my one and only complaint is that it's a workout.
It is a workout. Yeah, especially on a hot day. Whew.
I don't like working out. Speaking of parks, so there's a couple really good ones too, like Preston's Hope Playground Park is a park for kids with disabilities. I mean, it's a park for anyone, but it's a great park for kids with disabilities. And then I think also the waterway cleanup has been phenomenal. It's funny that we would talk about a city being dirty and smoggy and catching on fire because like we have our own shame in that area.
Yeah, I mean, every time I see Cuyahoga, like researching Cleveland for this week, like I kept seeing it compared to the Monongahela.
Yes.
Like the Mon did not catch on fire, but it also was kind of an open sewer, to borrow your language, Colin.
I feel like if someone tried to light it on fire at one point, it probably would have gone. But, yeah. So I just think, I mean, lots of cities are doing that. Buffalo's redoing their waterfront. Grand Rapids is trying to, take out a lot of the changes that were made due to logging. We're trying to clean up our own. Cleveland's doing the same. I kayaked on the Cuyahoga with my friend Tamara last time I went to Cleveland. And it's different than kayaking here because it's kind of bendy. It's little harder to navigate around, but in an interesting way. Like we could really kind of explore and nose into all these different parts of the river and industry and stuff.
Beyond nature, I would actually say the other reason to visit Cleveland is music. I think that Pittsburgh has a pretty good music scene and lots of good venues, but Cleveland is just peppered through with all these really great mid-sized auditoriums. There's Beachland Ballroom in Collinwood. There's Mahal's in Lakewood. There's the Grog Shop in Coventry, which was always my favorite independent venue to go visit. And they bring in so many good acts while having a lot of good local acts. And the thing that I think is really great about the music scene in Cleveland is that each one of these places is sort of like the heart of its neighborhood. So you can go to a show and get dinner right before or go out to a bar afterward and kind of have a unique neighborhood experience based around that one concert. So that's a reason I always really like to visit Cleveland. I'll go out to Lakewood and stay with friends and go to a show and I can literally walk to and from their house, which is really nice. But I think Cleveland lends itself really well to breezing into town for a concert. There are also a lot of bands, quite frankly, that will go from Cleveland to Philly. And so for us in Pittsburgh.
I know we went to Blossom a good bit before we had kids, which is similar to Star Lake. It's an outside amphitheater. And honestly, given the traffic issues at Star Lake, sometimes it's quicker to go to Blossom. So,
oh my gosh. I mean, I'll be honest, a lot of the reasons I've been to Cleveland in the past is because of music.
Same.
Like I've gone in for a concert, we stay overnight, we hightail it back in the morning.
Yeah, there was smaller bands in our 20s that we followed all over, and they would be in Cleveland Heights and we'd go out there. And it's not, you can drive out and back in one day, even if you don't want to.
And I've done that too in my youth, where we would drive back, in the wee hours of the morning and make it to work at 8 a.m. CityCast Pittsburgh is brought to you today by Window Nation. We have had our first hot days here in Pittsburgh. If you are still sweating thinking about it and the AC is already blasting, then it might be time to replace your windows. If you're looking for energy-efficient windows that'll help you save on your utility bill for months to come, Window Nation is here to help. They've got a special running right now. Buy 4 windows, get 4 free, which means you could replace all the windows in your house and get half of them for free right now. Plus, you could also lock in their 0 down payment, no payments or interest for 2 years, and Window Nation custom builds their products, so you'll get to pick from all kinds of different things. 1,500 styles and colors, and the installation crew is full of professionals. They are going to finish the job, they say, in just 1 day or less, and best of all, your windows do come with a lifetime warranty. If you're looking to make an investment in your home, do check them out. That buy 4 windows, get 4 free sale ends soon. And don't wait to put an end to your window problems. You could schedule a fast, free consultation now at windownation.com. So let's talk about food in Cleveland. And I want to take it by meal. Do y'all have any breakfast recommendations?
So we already mentioned West Side Market, but that was actually also my favorite breakfast while I was there.
Well, there's so many options. I mean, okay, fine. Let's do West Side Market because I feel like it's like the big thing, right?
Well, they have like a little cafe in the back, like a diner.
Yeah, right. Like they have like different kinds of spaces, and there's a ton of vendors, and they're a little bit. I mean, we have great farmers markets here in Pittsburgh, but nothing like this. It is inside. It's open year round, most days of the week. Y'all agree that it is worth the visit?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think if nothing else, visit it as a Pittsburgher so that you can come back enraged that we don't have our own really nice public market.
Every time I go to another city that has an indoor market, Grand Rapids has a great one.
Yeah, Columbus has a great one.
They do. Eastern Market in D.C., which is kind of a mix of indoor and outdoor. But yeah, I love.
Philly has their version. Yeah, I want that for us.
I want that for us so bad.
Put a big shade sail over the Strip District.
Okay, so breakfast. There was a vendor that you liked in West Side Market.
Well, I liked the actual little greasy spoon that's in the back of the
Okay, got it.
Like, it looks like it hasn't changed in a very long time. And it's like, you get your toast, your eggs, your potatoes, that kind of place. That's my favorite. Like, my favorite local breakfast is Dairy Villa in Bellevue. So it kind of has that vibe.
Okay. Any breakfast spots for you, Colin? Or like a type of thing you look for?
I think Cleveland's got a lot of really good greasy spoon kind of places in general, like Meg was mentioning. And one of the places that I like is the Harvard Inn in Slavic Village, because it's very much a blast from the past, super cheap breakfast. And it's right in the heart of this neighborhood where a lot of Eastern European immigrants headed. So there's actually a church in the neighborhood where Pope John Paul II visited. There are some artifacts of his visit there. But that's a real slice of like old Cleveland. If you want to see sort of what Cleveland was like before it if you want to see what Cleveland was like in the age of the burning rivers, this is the place to go, I think.
That'd be a good name for a breakfast sandwich, the Burning River.
Yeah.
Another one I thought was actually kind of a good throwback. I don't know how old this place is, but it was a recommendation we got from Michael W. in Morningside. If you Google this place, it looks like it's been here for a minute.
Cleveland has a really good restaurant, Slyman's Deli. They have some of the best roast beef I've ever had.
I mean, these sandwiches are enormous. I'm actually just going to show you a picture because look at this thing.
Wow. That is
Slyman's is the real deal. So when I was in high school, shout out to my AP US history teacher, Bruce DeZetta, we took a trip to Cleveland and sort of had this historical walkthrough of the city where we went to Lakeview Cemetery and all these other places, and we ate at Slyman's. And it is truly a Cleveland institution. You see photos of all these old Clevelanders on the walls.
Oh, cool.
It's got a very kind of like wood paneled, old school, like brass vibe.
I mean, this is a wad, like a huge fistful of roast beef with bread sort of on it. Like a sandwich is generous for what this thing looks like.
Yeah, it's like a meat pile with like bread as a garnish, kind of.
Yeah.
Sort of Cleveland's answer to Primanti's in a way.
Oh, that's a really good comparison. That helps me. I haven't been there. So one of my favorite places when we went was called the Lake House, and it's right on the river, not on Fire River, and
hasn't been on fire in a very long time.
I keep making a joke. I should stop. One of my favorite places is the Lake House, which is right on the Cuyahoga River, and it's styled like you're going to grandma's house. Like, they have pictures of their kids growing up through the years and things like that. It's a really cool vibe. And then I really liked Heinen's, which is a grocery store chain in Cleveland, but their main one in the downtown area is in an old bank. And it's just gorgeous. Like, they have a giant dome over it. It's really architecturally interesting. The old vault is a speakeasy in the basement. It's really cool. And they have a lot of like grab and go. They have wine on tap, beer on tap. Like, you can make a meal out of, I'm saying a grocery store, but like, it's not.
My whole face is like really like going through a full journey here as you're talking. I'm like, this place is a grocery store?
Think of it as like a market district on steroids.
There's another Heinen's in Cleveland Heights where they actually, I don't know if they're still doing this, but at one time they were doing singles nights where you could go to the grocery store,
my gosh.
get beer and wine on tap, shop, and then potentially, chat someone up and go on a date.
Make a match. I love it. Any other lunch spots that y'all would recommend?
I think if you're in the eastern part of Cleveland, you really owe it to yourself to go to Tommy's and get a big sandwich and a milkshake. They've got a huge menu that's got just a ridiculous amount of sandwiches and things on it. Also a lot of Middle Eastern fare like falafel, spinach pies, and things like that. But these milkshakes are really some of the best that I've ever had. I think that place is another example of how Cleveland, like Pittsburgh, is a city of neighborhoods where you can sit and enjoy your milkshake and just see the comings and goings of the streetscape in Coventry.
What about dinner? Some savories maybe for later, or alternatively nightlife if that's more your thing.
I mean, I don't know if this fits into any of those, except I'm a late night snacker. So when we went to Cleveland, our host was telling us that pizza bagels are kind of a thing that was invented in Cleveland or got its traction in Cleveland.
Okay.
So think of it as like a pepperoni roll and a bagel had a baby, I guess. So I got a bunch of those at the West Side Market, but I saw them at several different stores. And they were top notch. So I had that actually for my like after dinner snack when I got back to the hotel.
Amazing. I was wondering if they had any like regional or like city specific like specialties, like a thing that they're known for.
Well, pierogies were actually first sold on the street in Cleveland.
Look, I have heard that is a fraught claim. I want to see it in City Paper. I want that deep dive.
Jalapeno Hanno would like a word.
I'm going to get hit with a purse after this episode. But there are a lot of good places to get Slavic and Eastern European food. I would say for dinner recommendations, I mean, your University Circle has like all the cuisines of the world. And I went to Otani Noodles, which is a good ramen spot last time I was there. But there on the west side, there's a place called Hansa Market that is like old school German and Slovenian fare.
Ooh.
And they also brew their own beer. So I think that's a good dinner spot. You're right in the heart of the west side too. So there's any number of other places you can go before or afterward as well.
Okay, so a contentious one. Do you think that Cleveland is worth visiting for sports?
I got to jump in here because as a born and raised Northeast Ohioan, I am a big Cleveland sports fan, not the Browns, but I am a big Guardians fan and a big Cavs fan. If you want to see NBA ball, I mean, Cleveland is the spot. Like, obviously, Pittsburgh does not have NBA ball. And the Cavs are not only a really entertaining young team to watch, but the fan experience at Rocket Arena is great. I mean, they have swords that come down from their scoreboard and shoot fire. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
I cannot exaggerate enough quite how warm that fire is as someone who was recently there, and I've been going for years because I'm an NBA fan, and that's just not, Pittsburgh's not the most welcoming place for that. I go at least once a year. Since they upgraded that arena, since they won all those championships a few years ago, oh my gosh, it is so fancy and it is so loud. Like, if you sit in the upper arena, because I am also cheap and I got the cheap tickets, first of all, it's like you need earplugs. Take earplugs and the fire will touch you.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
It is so hot up there when they make those things go off.
Yeah, you feel the heat. But the Cavs are they're just an awesome sports experience top to bottom. And I would also say, you know, for Pittsburgh as the city with long-suffering baseball fans, do yourself a favor and go check out a game at Progressive Field. The vibes are great. It's not as beautiful as PNC, but it is a really nice ballpark. And there is just something very satisfying about watching a club that actually wants to win.
Okay, here's Claire M. in Morningside.
I kind of have some sympathy for the football fans in Cleveland because they're talking about moving the stadium out of the city center and into the suburbs, and I think that would be a really sad thing for all the Browns fans.
The suburb stadium situation, I mean, how much time do you got if you want me to talk about this topic? Sports owners in this country have done such a fantastic job of figuring out ways to get hundreds of millions of dollars in tax dollars for building domed stadiums that they can host big marquee events in while developing their own real estate neighborhood situations. And Cleveland is just the latest to hop on this bandwagon.
Didn't that happen in Atlanta?
Yes.
And DC's talked about it too.
The Atlanta Braves move to the suburbs, and their ability to basically construct a mall around their stadium has made every other sports owner jealous, and Cleveland has somehow managed to work around laws designed to prevent them from doing specifically this. So I wish you the best, Browns fans, but the Haslams are a special group of owners.
I mean, we have the Nuttings here, so I'm not going to throw any stones. I mean, I do think the Kenny Pickett angle is an interesting one, at least for the coming season, because the Browns have had a lot of bad luck lately, and now they have a Pitt, former Steeler, heading the team.
I think it would, and I've only been to see Cavs games as well. I haven't been to see a football game there or a baseball game, but I do think it would be fun to go watch a Steeler game there, like when we play them. I kind of like that vibe. It'd be like, you know, Pitt, West Virginia, et cetera. It's exciting.
And all questions of stadium financing aside, AFC North football is best played in the open, where it is potentially snowing or raining or God knows what else.
Yeah,
that's how
true.
AFC North ball is meant to be played.
We do have an element factor
we need to coddle our players
that comes into play. So we've talked a lot about like things that, you know, first timers might want to experience or something, but like for folks like you who've been many times, you know, what would you recommend that's maybe a little bit off the beaten path, you know, for your 4th trip, your 7th trip, your 15th trip to Cleveland? Like, what else do you love?
So I really love quirky cultural stuff. That's one of the beats I always like to cover. I've done that a good bit for City Paper. I will always love my church turned witch coven story I did for you guys. I really like the house from A Christmas Story. You can go take pictures there, whatever.
They used to host a 5K where everyone dressed in costume. It was one of the most amazing things. You left from the basketball arena, went across the bridge, went to the house, circled back, and came back around. I saw an entire pack of Bumpus hounds running across the bridge. It was the greatest.
That's so joyful.
It really was. I hope they bring that 5K back.
Yeah, so I really like that a lot. I think that's something, if you've hit up all the main events and you want to start kind of exploring, they've got a couple. You mentioned, is it Lakewood Cemetery?
Yeah, Lakeview Cemetery.
Sorry, Lakeview. Yeah, we went there too and poked around, and kind of those little off the beaten, stops are really fun.
Yeah, I think, if you're going back to Cleveland and you haven't been, I think Little Italy is one of the biggest hidden gems. I mean, this is no shade on Bloomfield, which is a wonderful neighborhood, but there is so much more Italianness still in the Cleveland Little Italy. You can go to Trattoria for like a nice date night. There's an espresso shop. It feels like a really kind of true to its history Little Italy. So that's a great spot to just kind of mosey around, take a little walk, visit some restaurants around there. Beyond that, MoCA Cleveland, the Museum of Contemporary Art, is worth a visit. I think it's like $10 if you're an adult outside of Ohio, but otherwise it's free. That's also in University Circle near all this other stuff. But I think that Cleveland lends itself, like Pittsburgh, to exploring some of the unsung neighborhoods. Like maybe take a day and spend a couple hours in Huff, visit League Park where the then Indians used to play and the Cleveland Buckeyes used to play. It's a really cool historic stadium that's been preserved pretty well. Or go to Collinwood and just kind of walk around and check out the sites there. I always enjoy going to cities and visiting the neighborhoods that are for the people who live there. And Cleveland has a lot of those. But that doesn't mean that they're boring or there's not fun stuff to do. So just getting to kind of walk around and experience the cityscape is one of my favorite ways to go back to Cleveland.
I think, too, as far as performances and plays, like Playhouse Square is awesome, which is their theater district. And then there's also just a lot, just like the music venues, there's a lot of smaller theaters. We went the last time I was there and saw a play that just had 4 actors, but it was really powerful, and it was out in one of the suburbs. So I think if we have our cultural district here, we have a lot of great shows coming through, but check what's in Cleveland because it might be worth the drive.
Yeah, I'll add to that. Detroit Shoreway has some really cute small venues, and another really unique music venue for Cleveland is the Bop Stop, which is an all jazz venue that's right on the lake shore. So you literally walk out of the venue and the lake is right in front of you. And they bring in a lot of good jazz acts as well as local bands as well. So that neighborhood in general has a lot of kind of more intimate performance spaces that are really worth a visit.
I'm talking about, if it's not here, check Cleveland. One of the recommendations we got made me giggle because it has the same vibe, but they had a different spin on it. This is Sabrina from Buena Vista.
I like flying into there sometimes. They have good, it's a good hub, I guess, to fly into because I feel like sometimes Pittsburgh doesn't have the best connecting flights and stuff like that.
They like the airport.
So this was a big so I grew up in northern Butler County and Beaver County. And so, yeah, choosing between Pittsburgh and Cleveland for the airport was just a matter of price. They were pretty equidistant. If you're on a budget, it is worth checking it out because it's not that far.
Yeah, I think the Cleveland airport has the advantage of being connected much more closely to the city. So if for some reason you're planning a trip to Cleveland and you're flying out of there, you can hop on the Rapid and it's like 10, 15 minutes from downtown and you're at the airport, which is really, really nice.
Also a thing I wish Pittsburgh could do.
I know.
Stay tuned for that. I think the day this drops, I'm going to be publishing a column about a sneaky way we could build a train to the airport. But anyway.
Yeah, there's the Flyer bus, but it kind of sucks.
Yeah, the 28X.
Yeah, without dedicated lanes, I think it leaves something to be desired. But the other thing I would say about airports is if you are planning a trip somewhere, look at Akron's airport. Very close to Cleveland, extremely small and easy to navigate. And they have all sorts of budget airlines that fly to like Florida, South Carolina, Mexico, Canada, all sorts of places.
Well, since you mentioned Akron, this is sort of our bonus question. I wondered if y'all had any road trip spots that are kind of on the way to Cleveland and back, or worth maybe going a little off the beaten path. We will start with our boy Chris B. from Oakland.
Just north of Akron is a place I haven't gotten to, but I intend to, which is the last Arthur Treacher's restaurant in the world. So it's a seafood, fast food place, Arthur Treacher's. It's sort of a better version of Long John Silver.
I do love Long John Silver. And there's like one in Rochester. I don't know if there's any more around here.
Apparently you can get the OG, the better Long John Silver's in Akron. Who knew? Okay.
I know exactly where that restaurant is. I can picture it so clearly in my mind's eye right now. It is so funny that somebody would bring that up of all things.
The most random.
Arthur Treacher, it's a place that I've driven past so many times and never actually eaten at. And I honestly, I didn't even know it was still open. I kind of assumed it had closed at this point.
I checked before.
To your list.
It's still open.
Actually, cut.
Mine is got to be Grandpa's Cheese Barn. Are you familiar with this? There are multiple locations, but they're all kind of like in that like mid-Ohio area. It is one of the most delicious roadside places I've ever been. It is just one large building devoted to every type of cheese you have ever imagined and ice cream.
Ooh,
It is so good.
A dairy extravaganza.
I literally take a cooler with me every time I go.
You're going to say a lot of lactate.
Also that. Separate goals.
I do love Akron. I think Cuyahoga Park, we talked about that, is a must stop. Akron has a cute little children's museum. You know, if you're kind of worn out from a trip in Cleveland and you want an easy stop, it's a really nice one. And then we really love Geneva on the Lake and a lot of the lake towns around Cleveland. It's nice if you want to just add another day or two onto your trip, grab a little cottage. Ashtabula has had a little bit of a glow up. It's pretty cute. We like some of the restaurants there for a night or two. So
I don't think I've ever thought about that as a town. It's always just been a Bob Dylan lyric. That's good to know.
No, I was really pleasantly surprised. We have family that lives there, and Ashtabula is really having a little bit of a comeback.
Okay. Colin, what about you? Any road trip spots that you would recommend?
I would just add for the Akron crowd that the Akron Art Museum is really, really great. They have a really good contemporary collection. So lots of artists that have been making art in the last like 50 to 100 years. And the building itself is kind of an architectural icon as well. Just this big spiky glass and metal building. There's a minor league ball club in Akron that's worth visiting. I would also say too, Pittsburgh being this football city, a reason that maybe people are even going to venture out in the first place is to visit the Football Hall of Fame in Canton. And that's also, less than an hour from Cleveland.
Yeah,
they've just expanded. They've got this really big like football village that they've built. So that's kind of become its own destination as well.
And they give a lot of flowers to Pittsburgh. They just had a huge exhibit for the 50th anniversary of our first Super Bowl. They literally like covered the windows in steel curtains, like metal sheathing. I thought it was a nice touch. And they had all the rings and things like that, but there are a ton of Steelers in that museum.
We're awesome and we're better than the Browns now.
One last Akron cut. If you are finding yourself in the Rubber City, go to Hop and Frog Brewing and watch the blimps take off from the gigantic blimp hangar in Southeast Akron.
That's cool.
That is a really one-of-a-kind sight, and the building itself is worth looking at just because it is so massive.
Okay, a lot of Ohio love, a lot of Akron love.
Akron is really great.
A lot of Cleveland love.
Yeah.
Meg, Colin, thank you all so much.
Thank you. It was fun to get to chat about this a little bit. Also, I did reach out to the folks in Cleveland that run their tourism department, and they have a new app, if you go on thisiscleveland.com, that has all of this stuff. So if you're there for the weekend, you can put in food, whatever, venues, museums, and it'll have all that info, which is really nice.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I would just stick that Easy Pass on your windshield. It's only 2 hours to Cleveland. You can be there and back in a night.
That is all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. You can support us by becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow with more from around the city, our city here in Pittsburgh. We'll talk to you soon. Meg's wearing a Cleveland shirt, we should point out.
They gave it to me, so I had to wear it. Okay. I also wear it all the time.